this ain't nothing different than when I went to Scotland and fought Ricky Burns.
I love each and every one of y'all, but come Saturday, y'all gonna be crying like I said.
I have never seen a fight with two guys more explicitly concerned with their reputations.
When Netflix showed Terence Crawford, the crowd reacted with loud boos instead of cheers. Instead of cheers, the crowd made their feelings clear, proving just how strongly they support Canelo Alvarez in this heated matchup. Meanwhile, as fight week gets closer, questions about Crawford's health and power continue to surface. Some critics believe moving up in weight could leave him vulnerable, while others point to rumors of a shoulder issue. Crawford, however, didn't hesitate to respond. He laughed off the injury talk and made it clear that stepping into his natural weight class only boosts his strength.
Where I got a shoulder injury at, I don't know. I think people coming up with their own, antics. Terence Crawford got a shoulder injury, Terence Crawford out of shape, Terence Crawford slow, Terence Crawford. Yeah, they coming up with all kinds of stuff.
Terence, what difference in power now you've moved up and you're at your natural weight?
Of course. The power is definitely going to come with it. So that's not any worries that I ever had to have.
Furthermore, Crawford reflected on the unpredictable nature of boxing, where matchups can surprise even the fighters themselves. He admitted that facing Canelo was something he hadn't imagined, similar to past unexpected opportunities like Pacquiao. Despite the uncertainty, Crawford is excited and focused, ready to take on the challenge and make history by becoming a 3-time undisputed world champion in this high-stakes fight.
At times, yeah. Well, me personally, I never would have thought me and Canelo would be in the same ring together. But then again, I thought me and Pacquiao would be. So, with boxing, you got to expect the unexpected, at times. So we here now. I'm excited, and I'm about to, go out there and do my thing and become the 3-time undisputed champion of the world.
Crawford then highlighted the historical significance of what he's aiming to achieve. While many fighters have reached milestones, becoming a 3-time undisputed champion has never been done before. He compared it to past achievements, noting he was the first to become a 2-time undisputed champion. This next goal, he explained, would set a new benchmark in boxing and solidify his place in history.
Doing something that's never been done before. I think that'll be bigger because when you look at the landscape of apples to apples, Canelo's been beat before. There's never been a man boxer to become 3-time undisputed champion. I was the first to become 2-time undisputed, Now I'm looking to become the first to be 3-time.
On the other hand, Canelo spoke about the excitement building around his fight with Crawford. He highlighted that this matchup isn't just another fight, it features 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Canelo emphasized how the event has drawn attention from fans everywhere, and that everyone is watching closely to see who will come out on top. The stage is set for a high-stakes showdown on September 13th.
It's Riyadh season, Netflix, everybody around this fight. You can see how big is this fight, and you have 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters fighting each other. So Saturday, September 13th, we want to see who's the best.
Additionally, while fighters continue to build hype, UFC President Dana White also shared his thoughts on the upcoming showdown. Known for his work in MMA, Dana rarely speaks passionately about boxing, but with Canelo versus Crawford set to break records, even he couldn't ignore its impact. For Dana, the scale of this event is unlike anything he's seen in boxing before.
Well, how about that? My first fight ever, I've been talking about boxing for a long time, is Canelo Crawford. One of the biggest fights ever. Literally is one of the biggest fights ever. It's the 3rd biggest, gate in the history of boxing, and it's the biggest gate ever in a stadium. So, it's awesome and surreal at the same time.
Dana took time to highlight Crawford's character beyond the spotlight. He explained that this fight isn't only about numbers or history, but also about the courage it takes to face such a challenge. Crawford, in his view, doesn't play a role for cameras or fans. Instead, he lives the mindset of a true fighter, showing belief and determination in every setting, whether public or private.
No, the fact that he's going to take this fight, speaks volumes about who he is as a fighter and as a human, and And I can tell you this, in working with him, he's one of the greatest guys you can ever work with. He's a good guy, and he absolutely positively believes in himself. Now, you deal with a lot of fighters sometimes that'll talk publicly, like, oh, this, that, but behind the scenes, it's not the case. He is definitely the guy that walks the walk and believes in himself and everything that he says, and he's willing to put it all on the line and prove it. What could possibly be better than that if you're a fight fan?
Moving on, analysts have been breaking down Crawford versus Canelo, and Luke Thomas focused on the technical side of the fight. He highlighted Crawford's movement and footwork as key factors, explaining how angles and positioning could allow him to control the ring. According to Thomas, Crawford's ability to make Canelo chase him and use superior ring intelligence could be a deciding factor in the bout.
My boxing answer is going to be Crawford's movement and angling. Angles in particular, less so just pure movement, but angles. Using his feet and using superior angles and footwork to make Canelo play catch up as he turns him, right? That's going to be my boxing answer. But my real answer, BC, I mean, it's sort of a more technical answer, obviously. My real answer is going to be, you know, it's if Canelo, or I should say, if Crawford pulls the upset, it's going to be because of Canelo's hubris.
Thomas then shifted from technical analysis to mindset. He emphasized that Crawford's chances also depend on Canelo's approach and attitude. According to him, if Crawford pulls an upset, it won't just be about skill. It will reflect Canelo's overconfidence at this stage of his career. Fighters' mindsets, especially when facing huge pay-per-view opportunities, can often determine outcomes as much as physical ability.
Canelo is at the stage of his career where he's taking what he thinks are, obviously this is a huge pay opportunity, right? But, you know, he's not in it at this stage to risk losing to people he thinks he actually has to risk losing to. And I don't think he has taken a fight in quite some time that makes you think otherwise.
Next, Thomas examined the physical challenges Crawford faces. He pointed out that Crawford's age and the jump in weight class are significant factors to consider. While Crawford is highly skilled, competing against a younger, stronger champion like Canelo adds extra difficulty. Thomas compared this scenario to other fighters' attempts at big weight jumps to highlight just how rare and challenging it is.
So I think he believes that Crawford, and with good reason, BC, it's not like a crazy thought. Yeah, Crawford's good, but he's quite, relatively speaking, quite old, older than Canelo, who has more miles is somewhat of a different debate, but, you know, older than Canelo. And the weight class jump is insane. BC, someone brought this up to me. Now, the comparison doesn't quite work, okay? But someone brought this up to me on my live chat. Ilia Topuria did fight at 35 once. He tried to do it a second time and missed weight, but he did make 35. And if you think about it, if he fought Islam at 70, that would almost be, to a degree, somebody who's gone 35 to 70.
On the other side, Canelo shared insights on his training and preparation. He highlighted the role of his sparring partners in fine-tuning his skills for Crawford. One key figure, Boots, has a long history with Canelo's team, making their sessions especially valuable. Canelo explained how working with him helped sharpen timing, movement, and strategy, giving him confidence as he prepares for the biggest fight of his career.
More than one time, yeah, and he helped me really good, and I'm very grateful with him. We have history because 14 years ago, his older brother, Pooh Ennis, helped me for when I fought Shane Mosley and Alfonso Gomez. So that's why we have history with the Ennis family, and I'm very grateful with him taking the time and go there and give me some work.
Do you think anything? Was there anything in particular that you guys worked on that you feel like was beneficial?
No, he worked his team. He's very similar to Crawford. He switched guards too. He's fast. And he's a pretty good fighter, so I work really good with him.
Moving on, as the fight draws closer, other fighters are weighing in on Crawford versus Canelo. Teofimo Lopez shared his perspective, focusing on the challenge of moving up multiple weight classes. He emphasized that this isn't just about skill, it's about determination, heart, and the will to face the best. Lopez highlighted that matchups like this test not only talent, but also who truly wants to prove themselves.
September is his, no one else's. Yeah. And then Crawford going up 2, possibly 3 weight classes to fight, you know, Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight world champion. Man, it's all about who wants it more and who wants to finish you know, the cream of the crop. The best to ever see of this era.
You know, I'm sure you saw the photo of Bud looking all buff and all.
But hold up, I want to see something.
Building on his thoughts about the challenge Crawford faces, Lopez turned to predictions for the fight. He emphasized that both fighters are exceptional, making it hard to call a clear winner. Lopez noted that moments like these aren't just about skill or size, but about heart, timing, and who can capitalize under pressure. He then shared his personal prediction for how the fight could play out.
Same poster, right?
Same poster.
What do you think of a once-in-a-lifetime beat for this?
I'll just tell everybody right now, this is not going to be like Mayweather-Canelo.
Why not?
Why not? Because there's only one Mayweather. And Crawford don't fight like Mayweather. God, my gosh. So, I don't know why they did this. They should ban it, but hey, if it works, it works. What's up?
Was Mayweather-Canelo's biggest fight?
Heck no.
Meanwhile, analysts have been debating Crawford's chances against Canelo, and Showbiz the Adult focused on a physical matchup perspective. He argued that while Crawford has skill and experience, size and strength could be critical factors. According to him, facing Canelo at this weight presents challenges in defense and stamina, making it difficult to avoid or block punches. He broke down why this could determine the fight's outcome.
All the stuff I've mentioned, head movement, jab to the stomach, counter ability, resume, experience, all of that falls behind this one big reason why Canelo beats Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford is too small and not strong enough to block Canelo's punches. How are you going to win a fight when you can't block his punches? Floyd couldn't block his punches either, but Floyd is so fast, but also he was fighting him at a catchweight of 152 where he can carry the weight better. He wasn't 38. That's another thing. He didn't allow Canelo to get to him. Crawford at 38, weighing in at 168, fighting at 168. His legs aren't going to have enough life to stay away from Canelo for 12. So what's another way to defend? Block. And he's not going to be able to block Canelo's punches.
Additionally, Sean Porter talked about Crawford outside the ring, showing how smart and quick he is. He explained that Crawford can learn new games or strategies very fast, proving his focus isn't just in boxing. Porter then compared this to Canelo, saying he imagines Canelo enjoys poker or similar games, showing that both fighters' intelligence and competitiveness extend beyond training into other areas.
I'm curious at what they play. You know, I know Bud can play just about anything, and if he doesn't know how to play it, you give him 5 minutes and, you know, he can do that. He showed me how to play a game out there in Colorado, and I literally mopped him up the moment he showed me how to play it. So I'm curious. I feel like Canelo's a poker guy.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's not poker, it's not him.
Porter shared insights on Crawford's focus and intensity during training and media events. He explained that Crawford has a unique look in his eyes when fully locked in, showing extreme concentration. At the same time, there are moments when that intensity isn't fully present, which is natural in preparation. Porter noted that building and sustaining such focus over weeks is mentally and physically exhausting for any fighter.
So it went two ways. There were moments of that intensity, that look that I think you should know by now, the look that Terence Crawford has in his eyes. If you've seen press conferences and things of that nature, you know there's a look, and when that look comes, you can tap him on the back of his head and he'd never know because he's so laser focused. But then there were more moments where he didn't have that focus and that laser execution mentality. And again, I said that's good because you have to work your way up to that. If that's 6 weeks out, imagine how drawn out you'll be because of having such intensity.
It's exhausting.
Porter then focused on Crawford's preparation for moving up in weight to face Canelo. He explained that gaining 10 pounds for a higher weight class isn't just about eating more. It requires careful training, protein management, and time to let the body adjust. Porter emphasized that even though Crawford hasn't fought in over a year, he's been fully committed to building strength and conditioning for this challenge.
You know, so the best thing a fighter can do when he's trying to gain 10 pounds to fight at another weight class is hit the weights, up your protein and things of that nature. I saw the man eat. The man is eating brilliantly. You know, he's doing it all right. And that's what I meant when I said, you know, when he decided to take on this challenge and Canelo Alvarez, it takes a good 2 years to successfully put on 10 pounds, along with successfully putting on 10 pounds to get your body to acclimate to that weight, right? So when people talk about him being out of the ring for 13 months, they really have to also accept they have to understand that he's been working and training for everything that he needs to do on fight night against Canelo Alvarez.
Furthermore, Paulie Malignaggi talked about Crawford moving up in weight to face Canelo. He wondered if Crawford could stay as quick and smooth while carrying more weight. Malignaggi also noted that training photos can be misleading since fighters can look different before and after workouts. How Crawford handles the extra pounds will be important in seeing if he can keep his usual boxing flow.
Crawford is heavier obviously than he's ever been before, so it's going to be interesting to see how he carries the weight. It puts something in my head, like, can he be as slick and fluid at this weight, right? I know you want to say by looking at the picture on the right, oh, he's even in shape. He's been sparring Lester Martinez, guys, so yeah, he's got to be in shape. Lester's on that card, he's got a big fight, you got to be in shape. But are you carrying it in a way where you're going to be as smooth? You know, Terence has that smooth boxing flow to him. Are you carrying too much weight to where you're not going to be able to be that smooth? On the left is probably after a workout. You're more shredded after a workout. Not so much that you're not as big, but after a workout, 'cause I went through this a couple of months ago where people were, you know, accusing me of being on PEDs and all kinds of crap. I put up a picture right after a workout where I had just lifted weights. So right after workouts, you got that pump. It's nice to take that picture.
Meanwhile, Chris Algieri weighed in on the discussion about Crawford's weight and conditioning. He explained that photos can be misleading depending on timing, lighting, and meals, and that Crawford's shape isn't in question. However, Algieri questioned whether moving up to a heavier weight would truly benefit Crawford. He suggested that staying lighter and relying on speed, intelligence, and skill might actually be the better approach in facing Canelo.
Yeah, he's got his abs out and they're shining, but again, the lighting is perfect. Probably just had a workout just like the champ said, so he's pumped and a little leaner and lighter. And then, you know, you catch him later, a couple hours later, after he's eaten and you know, he's drinking water, he's relaxed, and you don't get that same lighting. It's the exact same guy, and it's not saying that he's not in shape, because I bet you he could literally go from the photo on the right and go get some good lighting and flex and stare at the camera, and he'll look jacked. So I don't think it has anything to do with being conditioned. But to the champ's point, is being heavier really going to help Crawford out? And in my personal opinion, I don't think it will. I don't think he ever needed to get up to 68. I don't, you know, he's a smaller man. That's fine. Be the smaller man. Be the lighter man. Be the quicker man. Be the smarter man.
Adding on, Teddy Atlas shifted the focus toward mindset, pointing out that while Canelo's power and size make him dangerous, Crawford isn't stepping in unprepared. This is a fight he asked for, not one forced on him. Atlas highlighted that Crawford knows the challenge and accepts it fully. For him, the key isn't surprise or size difference, but confidence, intelligence, and control inside the ring.
Most composed guy, what, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it'll be, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can obviously he can punch and he can time you, and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that.
As fight week approaches, the tension between Crawford and Canelo has never been higher. Fans have voiced their loyalty loudly. Analysts are dissecting every move, and both fighters are fully committed to proving themselves. From weight adjustments to strategic sparring and mental focus, every detail matters in this historic matchup. All eyes will be on the ring when they finally collide. Who do you think will come out on top, Crawford overcoming the odds or Canelo defending his legacy? Drop your prediction in the comments below.